So here we are again, folks. I'm Marshall. I'm bringing you the second game here between Andreas and AdmiralGeneral. AndreasG spawning on the north side of this map known as Dawn System. Bots first, second, and third. Going for a little early air game there. Of course, com reclaim and a transition to vehicles there. Vehicles then air thereafter. Down on the south side, though, we have AdmiralGeneral in red. Bots first, air second. Still not queued up his factories thereafter. Of course, with bots first, to expect to see com reclaim. Such is the meta. It kind of looks a little bit like Berg at first glance. Certainly the way between the bases, you've got the rocks there, you've got the metal in between, and you've got a couple of side corridors up to the base. But looking over the map in general, don't forget that there will be some metal points that are not necessarily visible. You can never really tell with PA stats replays. But it actually looks as though this is one of a lot of twists and turns. You've got some really nice raised areas with some really, really tight choke points. Quite why you necessarily need to use all of these is beyond me, because you can lock them down so easily and they don't necessarily get you anything. But that having been said, they're nice and free away from a good portion of raiding. Certainly if you get some stuff up there and some anti-air, it should be all set. In the back we've even got a little body of water, so bots can go through or vehicles can go around the side. Of course you can lock down the choke point there. AndreasG getting a bit of scouting with his Firefly. Two of them in fact, just to see where expansions will be going. Of course, most of them most likely will be going in between the bases based on this enormous amount of metal between them. How can you pass up the opportunity to grab this central area? There's some nice choke points to lock down there if you rush for them as well. Around the sides though, these can't be neglected. A good 7 metal point site there. Going into a further 3, 6, so potentially 10 mechs if you knock down the middle. Admiral, though, favouring expansion to the back. Is Andreas following up with a bomber? I don't see one. Has AdmiralGeneral got a bomber going? He has not either, nor has he got any real intel at this stage. Andreas, though, already sending docks this way, playing on the aggressive. Trying to prevent this docks bot fabber from getting too much expansion going. But the docks will be heading over that way. They should be able to pick it off if they dodge this bomber really nicely. From Admiral will be trying to defend. The docks just survives. It could indeed get close here to this expansion. The Fabber realising it needs to stay alive and will run as fast as it can. I don't think it's going to escape. And regardless, the time lost there, the mechs was not finished. I almost feel as though sacrificing it for that mechs point, given the investment, might have been worth it here. Down it will go. There you go. Would have been more wise to finish off that mechs, I feel, considering it was half a second from completion. Bit of raiding coming in from Admiral, though. Quite how they managed to get up there, I don't know. We've got some docks here, there, and everywhere. Did we pick off a few of Andreas's expanding fabs? It doesn't appear as though that is the case. Got some nice bodies of docks defending AndreasG's expanding fabs though. And these nice turrets here will defend nicely against these openings and these bot forces, although their turn speed does need to be taken into account there. Down goes the mechs, the bomber tries to defend as well, but it's nice picking off a mechs at this stage in the game. It's just irritating. It's just another thing Andreas has to deal with, and that's good. What would be even better, of course, is taking out the fabs. Of course, there's an air fab sat there. If Admiral can somehow pick that off, that would be quite a good hit. And there's the 2 vehicle fabs in the base, but nothing's getting close to those. There's the comm and the point defense there. Ooh, combat fab will die for this line of mines, though. Ooh. I don't even think that was conscious. I think that was just general pathfinding that saved them. Andreas doing some nice raiding here of this mix that AdmiralGeneral has got some raiding going. Expansion, rather. Blimey, I'm mixing my words all over today. Finishing it up, going for the T2 vehicles, though. Andreas not yet there. Still trying to get the expansions back. Admiral continuing to try and raid as best he can, taking out that bot fab. That's important. That's a nice hit there. There's an air fab here that it looks as though he's now aggroed onto. Will it go down? It does. They're so flimsy, those things. It's hardly even worth using them at that stage in the game when you could have just sent a ground-based fab over. AndreasG now with the T2 vehicles in response. Let's have a look. Does he actually see the T2 vehicles in the base? He does. Well, of course, will not yet, based on his scouting. He's constantly losing his metal expansions, though, because Andreas is doing some really nice raiding. Admiral's defense is lacking a bit this game. It does have to be noted. I feel as though he hasn't necessarily built enough in terms of vehicles, perhaps. I mean, his bots, he's got a lot stationed in his base. These could be put in much better places, locking down these choke points for their expansions, because most of Andreas's raiding is docks at this stage. And a lot of what can deal with docks are just docks, you know, it's just one-for-one trades. But what Admiral does need to watch out for, though, is the air game. Andreas is pulling away a little bit. 3 air factories down to 2 there. Got a nice number of spinners, though, to defend against these choke points as well, which is good. Thing is, Andreas's eco is pulling away a little bit. Let's have a look in the army tab there. Admiral still has the unit count lead, however. So by rights, he should be doing okay. But the more pesky raiding that Andreas does, the more Admiral needs to go and patch up his wounds. And he doesn't necessarily want to do that. Commander leaving the base, just going for these expansions over here. I kind of like this, actually. This is an interesting move, especially if the Commander's going for these higher raised areas, because he will do well to defend them. Doesn't look as though he is going that way, though. It looks as though he's heading down this way. Quite what for? Maybe to build a proxy of some description. Oh no, he is heading this way. So yeah, he'll be able to lock those down quite nicely. And problem is, I feel as though that's not necessarily where he should have his attention focused at this stage. He needs to be raiding Andreas as well as expanding his own economy. And I feel as though his raids at the moment aren't necessarily getting the hits that they need, as most of the metal is close enough to Andreas's base. He can just send out a small party of units and a couple more fabs and it's all done. Hunky-dory. Bombs coming out now, though. Will they find the comm? They will do. Or will they not? They do not. Instead, they're looking around for the fabber picks. Just this continued fabber picking from Andreas is a really nice touch in his raiding, especially transitioning to the air. Keeping Admiral on the defensive for the time being is a good move as well. He is finding holes, though. It does have to be said, Admiral is finding holes and doing a little bit of damage. It could be better, of course it could, but finding holes is important. T2 vehicles are up for both parties now, of course. Levelers are there first for Admiral. If he pushes out now, Andreas will have the defender's advantage, but equally he could take out this pot of 4 metal there. And if he sends a couple round the back, he could take out a good 6, if he finds it right. More air coming out, though. Dealing with the mechs brutally efficiently. Down goes the Fab 2. And I think he saw the comm there as well. And the thing is, with Andreas's air lead now, he really does have mastery over the expansions of this planet, because they're so localized. That as long as he prevents Admiral from actually getting anything set up at those localized areas, which he just needs to patrol, then he keeps Admiral from getting anywhere. And he's doing a really good job of that so far.
Hey, wake up.
And I got poked in TeamSpeak, apparently. So I'll just mute my TeamSpeak for the time being. Down it goes. Righty, apologies for that. But with the air game there and the vehicles now out for Andreas, I'm surprised that Admiral really hasn't made an air transition here. It feels as though he's kind of just flopped this game. Kind of just stopped thinking of strategy. His comms left idle, whereas it needs to be keeping expanding there. His raiding parties never really amount to much now because he's... You know, docks are kind of at the lower end of the curve at this stage of the game. These levelers could do a bit of damage, but again, there's no real air support there. Focusing down the spinner will leave these levelers horribly, horribly exposed. And they're not really doing a huge amount of damage. One P-gen, a turret. It's not really worth the levelers being sent in there, really, is it? The storm is far, far too late. It would have been much better to, instead of assault the base directly, go around and raid the sides. And why is it building so many fireflies now? You need hummingbirds, air factories, hummingbirds, hummingbirds. Win the air game back, Admiral. Of course, he needs to know where Andreas is expanding to so he can go and raid it. But again, his raids aren't amounting to anything because they're still the consistency of early game raids, whereas we're now mid-game. We should be having clumps of vehicles or much, much larger groups of bots moving around, and we're not seeing that. We've got a commander moving back here. Admiral just been in the red most of the game. It's just not good news for him at all. Andreas really coming up trumps this game. Even into his second T2 factory, and Admiral just can't afford that at this stage. So if Andreas uses his second T2 factory to just leveler, and push, he'll have an instant win there. Because again, there's just nothing, absolutely nothing that Admiral can do to answer it. Sorry, my eyes are watering a little bit, which is irritating. So, what can he really do here? Because now he can't necessarily push into Andreas's base. Because of the defender's advantage, he'll just lose his levelers. So maybe now he will actually realise that going around raiding with these levelers is actually a wise decision. Thing is Andreas 2 ahead of the curve now with his eco difference there. 300 metal increase. 300 in a 1v1. That's GG territory there. He's got proxy bases locking down these metal expansions that Admiral just can't touch now. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw an air snipe on the commander, really, with the number of air factories and bombers that Andreas can potentially produce here. Again, doing a little bit of metal raiding, but with the T2 that's going up on expansions, it's now ineffective. It's too late for this to really be damaging to Andreas. If you're going to raid these things, you need to do them while it actually means something. Levelers desperately trying to shoot that mechs, but they do not have the curve for it. In comes the air now from Andreas, warding off the air from Admiral, forcing the retreat there. In come boombots though. Oh, this is going to be deathly. Get those docks in there to defend as fast as possible, but down come the booms, and their judgment is swift. And that most likely really will be the GG. Because he'll see this force and realise there isn't anything I can do against this. By the time they reach my base, I will only just be able to defend them, if at all. With the air support that Andreas will have, It's fighting a losing battle, it has to be said. And even on this side, we've got the commander there, horribly exposed to another boombot push. We've even got them here for potential snipe if necessary, but I don't know. They could stream over the raised rocks here. We've got some good raiding going on. Again, a little late. This isn't the T2 metal. This isn't where Andreas's eco now lies. Andreas's eco now lies in this expansion and in the base. And he can't touch that. There's no way he's even getting close. And setting up this push here, really aggressive encampment, just further contains Admiral. Further prevents his vehicles from doing anything. And here comes the push that will signal the GG. And Admiral even pushing out with his vehicles rather than pulling them back to defend. As again, by the time he gets to Andreas's base, defender's advantage will out. In comes the air to maybe do a little bit of easy pickings, but Andreas's air will come in swiftly thereafter, I'm sure. The leveler count is just too damn high. And in comes the air to deal with any of the defending air. And that's it. It's gotta be it. Boombots desperately trying to do what damage they can, but there's that one hero docks defending these levelers, microed to oblivion. Haha. Fantastic. In comes the air. The levelers are still sat on the side of the base. There's nothing this T2 fab can really do against it. That's got to be the GG. Even a naval factory up the back. Come on. This is torture. Admiral taking the other game, but absolutely getting destroyed this game. No holds barred by Andreas. Still got one of those boombots somewhere. They're pushing forward with this force here. We'll run into a couple of landmines. There's the comm suicide. Wow, that was a good bit of GG there. Amazing. We could turn this one into a best of 3 if Admiral and Andreas play another game that is good. I could, of course, by all means send it in. It would be good to have the final grudge match between these two settled. That would be good. Let me know what you guys think of the past couple of games in the comments, folks. And, of course, signal whether you liked it. Anyway, that is me done for the day. I've been Marshall, and have a good one.